What elevated the Medici family to the summit was not merely their banks. What truly carried them upward was the system they built. A system that, for a time, reached a dangerous point. In Florence and across Europe, almost everyone was bound to the Medici. Merchants, through credit, politicians, through debt, and the church, through money. Before any major decision was made, the same silent question echoed everywhere. What will the Medici say? At first, the system appeared flawless. In fact, it looked far ahead of its time, and that was precisely the problem. Because the Medici did not simply store money, they set it in motion. And as money flowed, dependency followed. Every loan created a new bond. Every debt added another chain. The Medici did not rule by issuing commands. They did not rely on force. They did not send armies. They created obligation. A merchant indebted to the Medici could not oppose them. A politician drowning in debt could not vote freely. A pope supported by Medici gold could not ignore Medici interests. This was power without uniforms, dominion without armies. Florence did not look like a center of oppression. On the contrary, it appeared as a city of art, beauty, and splendor, and this was no coincidence. Because when power hides behind beauty, it becomes untouchable. The Medici understood one fundamental truth. People resist force, but they accept dependency, and Europe accepted it willingly. As the system expanded, so did its fragility. The Medici did not keep their loans in Florence. They sent money across Europe, to kings, to nobles, to the papacy itself. And here the real problem began. A simple problem, but a fatal one. The money did not return. Kings did not repay their debts, because power already belonged to them. Popes did not remain loyal, because they spoke, or believed they spoke, on behalf of God. The Medici gave gold. They received promises, nothing more. When the money stopped returning, the system did not collapse overnight. First, it slowed, then it groaned, and finally, it cracked. A vicious cycle emerged. To repay old debts, kings needed new loans. The Medici believed they were steering the ship. In reality, they were being dragged toward the abyss by the weight of royal bankruptcies. At this point, a crucial truth became clear. No king ever said, "We must protect the Medici," because kings do not protect bankers, they use them. As long as money flowed, the Medici were valuable. But the moment repayment was expected, they became expendable. This is the hidden rule of financial power. You are respected while you give. You are abandoned when you ask. The Medici realized this too late. They believed political gratitude existed. It does not. Kings do not repay debts. They outgrow them. Empires do not remember favors. They remember opportunities. And when the Medici ceased to be an opportunity, they became history. By the time of Lorenzo, the cracks were impossible to hide. The bank was struggling. State funds were quietly diverted. Wars fought in the name of trade drained the coffers even further. The system could no longer carry its own weight. But here is the critical point. The flow of money in Europe did not stop. It merely changed direction. While Medici loans went unpaid in Florence, other vaults were opening, in Rome and across the lands of the empire. And as the Medici system weakened, another family quietly stepped forward. The Fuggers, colder, more disciplined, and far more ruthless. The Fuggers did not deal merely in coins. They controlled the land itself. By securing monopolies over silver and copper mines in Central Europe, they owned the raw materials that kingdoms needed to build empires. This was not friendship. It was not cooperation. And it was certainly not a rescue. It was a transfer of power. What the Medici could no longer sustain: imperial expenses, war financing, vast political payments. Fugger capital absorbed. The Medici financed art. They built cities. The Fuggers financed emperors, armies, crowns. As one family retreated, the other rose, at the exact same moment, and Europe's financial center shifted quietly, from Florence to the north. Still, the Medici story did not end there. When Lorenzo died, he left behind a powerful name, but a hollowed structure. His son, Piero the Unfortunate, understood money, but could not read the system. So when King Charles VIII of France stood at the gates of Florence in 1494, Piero gave way. Territories were lost, prestige collapsed, and for the first time the people of Florence said it out loud: the Medici are no longer indispensable. The masses rose, the family was expelled, a republic was declared. The structure that once bound everyone to its center had rejected its own creator. But this was not the end, because systems do not disappear. They change shape. The Medici returned, not as bankers, but as dukes. The republic ended. Florence became the possession of a dynasty. But the world had changed, and it would be a mistake to leave this story in the past, because the system the Medici built did not die with them. It changed hands. Back then, kings borrowed money. Today, nations do. Back then, indulgences were sold. Today, inflation is. The logic is the same. Risk is taken at the top. The cost is distributed below. The Medici believed they were too big to fail. Some institutions still believe that. History suggests otherwise. No system lasts forever. It's just that when a system becomes complex enough, its collapse becomes quieter. The void left by the Medici was never filled in Florence, because power does not disappear. It relocates, and when it left the Medici behind, it moved north. The answer was in Germany.